Hi, this is Ruth Theresa with One Inspiring Woman, and today I'm answering a Dear Ruth Theresa question. So the question is, Dear Ruth Theresa, does everybody have psychic abilities? That's a great question. Now, I'm going to answer this on a personal level because that's really kind of the only way I can answer it is, yes, I believe everybody has psychic abilities. No, I don't think everybody has the psychic abilities the same. Some people are more gifted in certain areas, and then some people are really just more connected to their psychic abilities than other people. But I will tell you that everybody has psychic abilities. So I have been around a lot of people that don't even believe that they have psychic abilities at all, and all of a sudden they'll be like, I have a gut feeling that this is not a good person, or I have a gut feeling that this is not a good company, or whatever it is. And usually within a few months or so, you'll figure it out. Yes, that's not a good company, or that person's not a good person, or even in a few minutes, sometimes you're like, yeah, I kind of feel that too. That feeling, that gut feeling is a psychic ability called claircognizance, but it's a psychic ability. When you go someplace and you're kind of like, something doesn't feel right. Something in this space doesn't feel right, and I'm not sure what's wrong, but there's something wrong. That is clairsensitive. Sometimes people will tell me that they will hear a noise that no one else hears. They hear a little knock on something, and they're like, did anybody else hear that? And everybody else says, no, I didn't hear anything. Or they'll hear their name being called, like, wow, it sounded like my grandmother saying my name, or my mom who's passed saying my name, or something like that. And it's like, clairaudient. Yeah. Just because you're not into it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. It's one of those, it just happens in a different way. Now, a couple of the quirky ones, like clairaudience or claircognizance, those kind of come in of being able to psychically feel or smell and taste. And those will come in for different people. They're like, ooh, I smelled something, or get a waft of like, oh, it smells like my grandmother's perfume, but she's been gone 10 years, so it's not her. One of those crazy gifts. They're out there, they see things, and it's kind of like you feel or taste or sense things, and you may not be able to go, oh, I know exactly what it is. My grandmother in ghost form just walked in front of me. No, doesn't always work out that way, but I guarantee you everybody has psychic abilities. That I was dealing with a client a couple of weeks ago who was picking her classes for the next semester, and she was like, just by looking at this professor's name, she was just like, this is Professor so-and-so, and I just have a feeling he's not going to be a great teacher for me. That's a psychic ability. And she was telling me that, like, I'm trying to ask you to confirm this for me. I get the same information that you do. I just get it knowing that I'm communicating with not only your angels and guides, but his angels and guides. And it's not going to be a great match in the classroom. So, excuse me, that's a really great way of knowing it. Like, a lot of times people come in and they're like, I just need you to confirm or deny this. And I will tell you 9 times out of 10, I'm confirming it. Like, yes, I get the same information, or I get 90% the same information, and I add this as well. So a lot of times, like, people are already coming through with the information. They are just not trusting it. They're not trusting the information that came through. They're not trusting, like, their gut feeling or their senses or whatever else. They're like, oh, sometimes I can be wrong. Well, yeah, everybody can be wrong from time to time. That's just part of life. But it's one of those, it's really important to understand that you are working through a lot of this energy and trying to understand your abilities as best you can. But like I said, everybody has abilities. Everybody has them. And it's just, how well are you working with them? How well are you getting into that mode? And I will say the number one thing to amplify or get control of your abilities, meditation. Yep. Let's pull some angel cards and get us a little bit more insight into, does everybody have psychic abilities? So the first card that's popping up forward is this one. This is all about soulmates. A lot of times people tell me that they'll get psychic kind of like butterflies or whatever else when they see that person, their perfect soulmate. All of a sudden they'll be like, oh my gosh, that's the person. That happened to me when the first time I ever saw my husband. Didn't even really know what his name was or anything else. The first time I laid eyes on him, literally my angels and guides said, you're going to marry that guy someday. And I'm like, what? Yeah, that quickly, it was just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And it's one of those, but they'll just get that like that psychic recognition of like, this is who I'm supposed to be with. My next card is all about nature. This is how you were designed. You were designed with psychic abilities. You were designed with psychic abilities on board already. You can go without them. To me, it's like, you can use the backup camera to back up your car, and that makes it nice, which is kind of like your psychic abilities, but you can still back up your car with the rear view mirror. You can still do it either way. A lot of times now with the cameras and the lines and everything else, it makes it so much easier. So your psychic abilities, using them can make your life easier, but you can still do it the old way. There is nothing wrong with that. There is no, oh my gosh, this is a horrible way of doing it. It may just take you a little bit longer, but you'll get there eventually. Balance. There is a balance to our psychic abilities, and they kind of all daisy chain together. So it's kind of like as one ability kind of amplifies, the next one will amplify, and the next one will amplify. And as you learn about them and how to use them and how to connect with them and how to disconnect with them at times, will completely help you kind of find your balance for you. How do you do this? How do you balance this out? Archangel Michael. Definitely call on a lot of Archangel Michael during this time frame as you allow your abilities to come forward and kind of allow that energy to kind of amplify you for yourself. So one of the things that's really important is calling in your archangels, calling in your guardian angels, and allow them to help you. Allow them to help you in this. It's one of those, they might be able to give you some insight or some help, or maybe even allow you to kind of look at things in a little bit different way, or a little bit different way of looking at things than you have in the past. Celebration. Celebration is all about, you were designed, totally designed by our creator this way. You were designed to be able to connect with them. And I know society for many, many generations have been telling us psychic abilities are bad and this is not good and all that kind of stuff. And usually that comes from people that don't understand that everybody has psychic abilities, or they're afraid of it. They're afraid of the psychic abilities. They're afraid of someone who's like, they know something I don't know. Sometimes psychics do. Sometimes we know things before everybody else knows. Sometimes we know things before someone else even gets that information. Sometimes we get that information before everybody else, and that's kind of like something that a lot of people, especially in the government, sometimes don't like, is because we don't have to always do that. We can look at the person and go, wow, this person is lying. I just get the gut feeling this person is lying. I can just see their mouth moving and feel that energy of them lying. And so that's part of this that you can really understand is when you are using your abilities, things start to amplify and things start to change for you as well. And I will say that that's kind of the fun, cool part, is learning how to use them and learning how to open up to them and how to change and modify and literally how to connect to who you really are. So many of us, when we were kids, way back when, we were told like psychic abilities are bad, or we told someone something like, oh my gosh, so-and-so is pregnant, and then all of a sudden like 10 minutes later the phone rings and they get that message and they're like, oh my gosh. Well, they freaked out, and then we were like, oh my gosh, this is not good, let's turn this down or off so we don't have to deal with this anymore. But the ability's still there, and eventually it's going to get the attention that it deserves. It is going to get the attention that it deserves, and it's going to keep doing it until you open up to that part of who you really are. Our last card is all about serenity. Serenity is all about kind of like peacefulness. If you've given away part of your abilities and you're not using them, that's not peaceful. It's one of those, you're kind of like, I feel like I should be getting more information, or I should get more insight into this, but I'm not. And so that can be the part that you're just kind of like, I'm not at peace about. It's kind of like I've given away part of my gifts and abilities or turned it off, and I'm not able to connect to that. I'm not able to connect to that energy the way I would hope to, the way I would want to. that's the important part, is, are you opening up to who you really are? And everybody has different abilities. Everybody has different abilities, different beliefs of how to connect to them and how to disconnect from them. And finding a teacher that can help you do that can change your world completely. I completely understand that, because I love teaching my classes. I love teaching my students more than anything else. And I love to see that insight of like, oh, this makes sense. Oh my gosh, I've had this my whole life and I never quite understood it. I never knew what to call it. I never knew what this was, or how to disconnect from it, or how to connect to it, or how to make it stronger, or how to make it weaker, whatever it is. They're going, oh my gosh, now you've just explained it. Like, you've explained me to me. Like, where was the human user guide manual when I really required this? That's the cool part, is when you see someone make those connections of like, oh my gosh, this is my ability. Oh my gosh, this is who I really wanted to be the whole time. Or I've always wanted to have this gift and ability, but I always have, but I've always denied myself it. That's the crazy part. And the fun part, because now you get to make a new choice. Under the age of 18, you kind of have to do what your parents say, I guess, in a way. And then over the age of 18, you get to do your thing your way, however you want to do it. And if you want to learn about your psychic abilities, learn about you and your psychic abilities, because it will change your thinking. It will change your mode. It will change your life forever. I thank you so much for joining me today, and I know that we'll be talking again soon.